Hi everyone, welcome to We Didn't Turn Out Okay. Today I'm joined by two people who are the creators of big things, I would say. Brynn Putnam, you may know as the founder of Mirror, is back again with a really exciting new product called The Board, meant to foster more connection between family members versus, the inevitable drifting apart as they get older. And her husband, Kevin Thau, am I saying that right?
Thau.
A leader and investor in the tech space. So you know a little bit about technology, I'd say.
Hope so.
And also, parenting a blended family that spans toddlers to college age, if I'm correct.
Yes.
And I'm so glad you're both here. I'm ready to ask a ton of questions. But before I do, can you guys introduce yourselves or share a few things? We'll start with Brynn.
I'm so happy to be here. I'm Brynn Putnam, the founder and CEO at Board, and a proud mom.
And I'm Kevin Thau. I'm a general partner at Spark Capital and a dad.
We're so happy you guys are here. I can't wait to dive in. Brynn, I know your coffee order of choice is a spicy margarita. I loved that so much. Kevin, what about you? Do you have a coffee order of preference?
I've switched to Americano just because it seems to be
safe
and less caffeine. That's been my primary motivation lately.
Do you drink anything with caffeine?
I do.
Oh,
I'm a cappuccino girl, but
right. It was just a really funny opportunity.
I think if I could have a drink of choice, I would definitely go the spicy marg instead.
Yes. I have a form that guests fill out, and I ask their coffee order, mostly because I record these in the morning and I like to bring, but here we are at 1 p.m., so no spicy marg or coffee. You guys parent a blended family, and I'm sure there's some inspiration from your own parenting lives for this new creation.
Yeah, so we have a 2-year-old daughter, Agnes. I have an 8-year-old son, George, and then Kevin has 3 teenage daughters, so ages 17, 19, and 21, Jordan, Sadie, and Mallory. So it's definitely the Brady Bunch in our house. And the board was really born out of the need to bring people together, kind of regardless of their age or experience, to create core shared memories. And I found that when we were together, it was sort of a lot of this, people on their phones in front of a television screen where a movie was playing, and not a lot of eye contact and laughter and connecting. And I think a lot of people see that and sort of think technology is bad or screens are bad. But I felt like really it was more of what we were asking the screens to do. So instead of asking the screen to be the full experience, felt like there was a real opportunity to use the screen to enable an experience that brought us all together with all of our different ages and abilities. And so that was where Board was born.
You noticed early on, this isn't how we should be spending time. Was it early on, when you first started kind of blending the families, that you're like, we need to find something else to really connect? Or was it sort of once everyone got comfortable into the blended family or you realized right away?
Yeah, I think everyone lives with the parent guilt for a little bit, where you think to yourself, how do I get this group to connect and bond? And it's hard. It takes work. And so you stick them in front of a movie and you call it a day, and then you feel guilty about it because it doesn't feel like you're really creating great memories, the great memories you had as a kid, sitting around playing Monopoly or sitting around a shared meal. So I think, I've always sort of created out of personal need and frustration, and this was no different.
Did you also echo that, experience of, we're not really connecting the way we can? Or were you just like, this is just what it's like now, especially as someone in the tech space?
Yeah, no, I think everyone struggles with what is the catalyst for families to hang out together and enjoy each other in something that's more interactive than just passively watching a movie together.
When she had this idea, what was your reaction?
We were brainstorming things.
Kind of
We had
together.
a whiteboard.
Yeah.
She had all these ideas, and we were just writing them on the whiteboard. And then there was one column that we just were like, game table.
Yeah.
And then we like,
love that.
we're talking about the other one. And then we came back to it, and it just totally was a duh moment when it made so much sense, because
Yeah.
there's so much similarity to Mirror with it. So it was like, oh yeah,
We
you should
can
just
do
do
this.
that. You're like the perfect person to do this.
We took
So-
a picture of the whiteboard, and you can see, as Kevin said, the other two ideas are, full of notes and pictures and diagrams, and then it's like, game table? Question mark.
And that's
It's just
the one.
empty.
Which is the one,
And
yeah.
that's
That was
one.
the
That
winner.
was the winner, yeah.
Yeah.
I think that, from a young age, and even people listening, you think of, oh, I want to create that, at a young age. I think of my girls when they're like, I don't have this Barbie store, so I'm going to create it out of a shoebox. And you could argue that some kids are more, into creating from scratch than others. And how do we keep and preserve that? And then life comes and you're like, I have this idea, but like I could never make it happen. So I want to like kind of go there, like how both with Mirror and this, was it not just, oh, that's a good idea, but I'll just, can't make that happen. It seems so huge,
Yeah.
when I think about it. But yeah, everything seems huge before you do it. But what made you feel so like, I'm going to make this happen?
It's funny, I think, unlike Kevin, I don't have a rebellious streak. I think years of about being a ballerina, I don't have that. But I have always, when I'm faced with something that I find personally frustrating or that doesn't make sense to me, my inclination is always to create. So I was teaching fitness at a studio, and the studio told me I couldn't do a specific exercise, a lunge. And I asked, why can't we do lunges here? And they said, well, we don't do lunges here. We never have for the past 20
it was like a religious thing.
No, it was a bar class. It was not part of the bar ethos.
Oh.
They'd never done.
I meant because you were in like a space that you said initially was religious.
No, God didn't object to the lunges. The bar studio did.
It seemed so like out of.
Yeah, but I just remember thinking, well, that's both silly and physiologically doesn't make sense, and felt a little bit anti-female to me that we weren't doing these moves that were so good for the
Right.
body. And so that was part of the impetus for starting my own methodology, was feeling like, doesn't make sense that we don't do this thing. So I think that's why I always end up creating. If I'm faced with something that I find frustrating or illogical, my inclination is always to try to build what I want.
To me, it feels just even bigger. Do you feel that? Do you feel like it's like meeting an even more universal need?
That was definitely on the whiteboard of things to tackle. Was, I wanted to tackle connection and helping to foster relationships, and I wanted to scale, because I definitely feel like with fitness, you are speaking to a specific segment that enjoys organized exercise, and that is a bit limiting. Whereas here, I think everyone plays, or everyone should play. Play should be such a big part of our lives and how we connect with people. So I think that's a big part of the mission here, is sort of this idea that everyone's a gamer, but right now there isn't a way for everyone to game, and there should be.
Yeah. That being said, are you guys partners in this? Meaning like, oh, okay. I was going to say like, what are the
thing?
I didn't even mean that way. I more meant also like, you have the ideas. Are you an executor in terms of like the more granular?
I'm an in the details person. I'm the button should be blue or the button should be green
Yes.
person, definitely. But I think part of why our professional partnership works is Kevin sort of always sits up at the top and sort of understands like the big picture and the vision, and I am down in the details. And I think
You need both.
he helps pull me up, and hopefully sometimes I help him finish the tasks on his task list. So I think we have a nice there would be no board without Kevin, so I think there's a nice balance.
Yeah, she's being the details. She does a lot more than that. It's been so impressive to watch the way she takes an idea and takes people and like pushes it up a hill with like all the details from, you know, factories to software to marketing to what brand. And I comment on this all the time because she's always making me do something. She's always giving me some task to do, and I'm like, okay, I'm working on my thing. And she's doing that though across, you know, dozens of things, and she's got them all stitched together in her head, and she knows how they stitch together and why they need to, you know, she's the glue that keeps all the tasks not just on track, but like cohesive and marching towards this like vision that she has. So she's being too modest.
You
with the
definitely were being
stuff.
too modest. I was like actually trying to go there because I think it's hard to be creative and to do all of that, you know, to manage, delegate, to know where like maybe you're not the best in that you need to build the right team. And so that to me is such a skill. And I was wondering if that's what it was. And
it's a great skill. She has like pure leadership skills, you know, that like you can't really, it's hard to teach being a leader. You just kind of do it.
Absolutely. Yeah. Can you tell us like what happened that made you such a leader so we can all replicate that for our children?
I think having a person who gives you the confidence to be who you are, honestly, has made this go around much better for me and has given me more confidence in myself. Because I think, you know, in startups, there's this ethos of move fast and break things and, you know, ship quickly, ship messy. And I'm a ballerina, and we talked about it. Recovering perfectionist, you know, I'm not a move fast and break things person. I'm a focus and execute at a very high level person. And I think finding someone who respects me and supports me and validates how I lead has made this go around much better, because I think before I didn't always trust in my leadership style, and so having a partner that helps me have that confidence has really been a blessing.
The belief in yourself is huge, and sometimes you can't have it by yourself, or you need someone to like remind you.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, especially as someone who's a recovering, because aren't we always going to be perfectionists?
Yes.
You kind of second guess, like, am I being too stuck here? Am I not moving things along quickly enough because I'm just being too in my head about it? Do you feel like you notice when she's in those stages, and that's when you come in and say, you know, whatever it is, or do you not notice the perfectionism?
Do you miss it?
No. No, I definitely notice the perfectionism. I think sometimes it's kind of what she said a few minutes ago. I do think I'm good at keeping perspective, because sometimes she'll be looking at perfecting a certain thing and I'll be like, well, there's these 5 other things, so maybe you can, you know, focus your attention over here. Just like helping, you know, when you get really close to things, you like need to take a step back, and if someone else can take that step back for you and help you see it, then you're like, oh yeah, okay, I'm going to direct my attention over here for now. So
oh my God, I just had like one of those, like, you know, the emoji with the mind while you were talking, because I feel like kids do that. And there's so many times where maybe you'll relate to this as someone who's a perfectionist. Maybe you'll be like, I don't know what you're talking about. But there are certain times where, you know, one of my kids will be like, I need to find this. And I'll like be like, I knew where that was. And so, you know, I'll be determined to find it. And they've like moved on. And I'm like, no, I need to find it. You know, I especially feel this because I don't throw away their toys without like their approval. And so when they'll ask for something, and I'll be like, I didn't throw that away. You know, I'm giving an example. And I've started to be like, they've moved on. I have to move on, you know? And that's just one of a million examples. And so I feel like he does that for you. Not he's moved on, but he gives you the perspective. But what my kids do in those moments is like, and sometimes my now 7-year-old will be like, Mommy, it's okay about certain things, you know? Like, don't worry. Like, I found something else, you know? And it's so interesting that, like, as a parent, when you stay stuck, like, you kind of wire that, right? If they see mommy, like, staying stuck on things, do you feel that you see your perfectionism rear its head in parenting?
Oh, of course. I mean, yes.
I mean, how could it not?
Yeah.
Do you catch it?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I think what Kevin brings is similar to what my kids bring, which is just like a attitude of joy for life. And I think that's been like the biggest antidote to my perfectionism, is when you're with someone who reminds you, like, this is amazing, you are amazing, our children are amazing, let's just live in this joy right now. That makes it a lot easier when I'm trying to over optimize to just let go and be present. But it's definitely work in progress.
Is it more like you're on the outside, or have you played a role like this where you're seeing, like, from the start to finish?
Yeah, I was early at a few startups that were got quite big and did big things. I mean, this is a totally different category, but like the one that you will, I was really early at Twitter when Twitter was like a dozen people, 10 people, and to go from working on this thing that we thought was cool and everyone thought was so stupid.
That's what I'm getting at. I have questions about this.
Was really, really fun to watch it go from, you know, nothing where people were texting what they had for lunch to what it is, you know, for good and bad later, and how big it got was really fun. And so I've had other things that are big in scale and impact, but never in this category, which is super exciting and fun too.
Yeah, but there's something there, like
being modest. Everything he's touched has been like that. He's like Midas over here.
I was gonna say, not to say like did anything not, but just similar to Brynn and what you're giving her, you know, you must do for yourself when you have this belief in her. When something like Twitter is so small, and I'm sure many other ventures you've been part of, is it just a gut feeling that you're like this, and they're all in different spaces?
Yeah, it's, I can't explain it, but yeah, there's moments. It's really only happened to me like 2 or 3 times in my career. And my career is pretty long because I'm old. But so over 30 years, it's like it's only happened like 3 times where you're like, absolutely 100%, I believe in this thing, and this is going to be a huge thing. I mean, I could be wrong, of course. I have been wrong. It's not like everything I've worked on has totally worked out. But
but you said that these 2 or 3 times.
Yeah, it was just like the right people, the right product, the right time, which all 3 of those factors are like, you can't just have one of those. You kind of need all 3.
Amazing. It's sort of like, you know, manifesting. Like, are you the reason?
No, definitely not.
How do all these amazing qualities factor into how you're raising your kids? I mean, I know that's a loaded question, but you have older kids. Do you see some of these qualities in your kids of entrepreneurship, of I believe in myself? And do you feel like there's anything that you've done as a parent to model that?
I've tried, yeah, for sure. I have 3 beautiful girls that are all quite different. And I think the main goal, I've made so many mistakes, obviously, but I think I try to steer them towards passions, like what they are passionate about and what really lights them up. I mean, one is a really, really talented artist. The middle one is quite an entrepreneur. She's got the hustle for sure, like starting little companies, and she wants to do things in the fashion space. And my third daughter, Sadie, is very into music and very talented and more like an observer. She's like a very, very insightful observer, and she waits and waits and waits, and then she'll like say what's going on, and kind of you'll be like, oh, whoa, I didn't think you were paying attention, but you've been paying attention more than anyone else. So it's funny. So you try, but you don't want to push. I don't know. Parenting's so hard.
So hard. Yeah. Even with younger kids, you know, you don't want to be like, I know it all. You want them to trust themselves and to build that.
Totally.
Yeah, I like need to know how you navigate that later on.
Kevin told me early on, and it sounds so simple, but his parenting philosophy was, he said, I tell my girls to be nice, try hard, and have fun. And I just remember, for me, that sort of like clicked, because I'd never really thought about, well, I never thought about having fun as a value to pass to my children, which sounds horrible, but is so clear. And I think, especially with older children, where you're not directly controlling their day the way that we are with younger children, I try to come back to that. Like, just the goal is just for everyone to be nice and try hard and have a good time. And if that's happening, then it's we're having a good day and we're having a good time. So I think especially with Kevin's 3 daughters, who are very different than me in their personalities in some ways, it's been really helpful to build empathy. I think just returning to that kind of high level goal.
You said you didn't like think of some of these values and just how new it was. Was it a lot of transition, or was there an easy way to kind of weave in who you were before, as a parent?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's been interesting with the 2 youngest, because George is so different than me and Agnes is so similar. So to have that dual experience, one of parenting a child where it would be so easy to try to create her in my likeness, and another where the child is so different. And in both cases, having to resist the temptation to try to imprint myself onto my children. But it's sort of nice to have the parallels where you look at one and you think, gosh, I completely understand her, because I have had all those emotions and had all those interests, and the other one to think, I don't know where you came from,
right.
You're so different. But then to always just come back to, I am not my children, and my goal is to just help my children actualize as themselves.
And that's probably also helpful to have blended with 3 daughters that also, you said, are so different from you, and then you look at your son and you're like, okay, like there's lots of different kids out there. That I have to navigate this. Yeah, it's so hard when they're so different. I truly believe the ones that are like the most different and we're like, where did you come from? Like, they have the real purpose for us, truly. I mean, it's not just for us, obviously, but I feel like they're brought into our lives to help us like just grow. Do you feel like there's anything in who you are where you're like, oh, I had to work on that to show up as a parent in the way I wanted? Are you like, which one should I say? Or you're like, I don't have any?
So many.
Really? Sometimes people are like, I don't know. And sometimes people have so many.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I think definitely my perfectionism. I think my life has always been about sort of excellence and trying to optimize everything day after day into excellence, and feeling never satisfied. To sort of that which is ballet. I mean, I think that's probably where it comes from. In ballet, you don't run a race and reach the finish line. You're every day. It's just like this constant perfection of every single small movement, which I think teaches a lot of good things, but also can leave you very obsessive in a way that can be exhausting. So I think that definitely shows up in my parenting, particularly with my son, who I said is very different than I am, where he derives joy and value from his friendships and his relationships. He does lots of things, but hasn't found sort of his passion or something that he strives to be great at. And really where he looks to be most himself is when he's with his friends. It's his social relationships. So that's definitely been a struggle for me, I think, figuring out the balance between wanting to give him exposure to things so that hopefully he can find something that brings him joy, the way that dancing brought me joy, but also appreciating that maybe excellence in a thing is not what makes him who he is. So that's definitely an ongoing work in progress.
Yeah, that's so huge to think about, right? Like you're thinking about like, well, I had this, and is he going to find that? But then I'm sure you know many people who didn't have something like ballet from like 2 years old, right? And found something else. But yeah, like trusting that, or you know, believing that you didn't like miss a window or an opportunity, and yeah, really like trusting him and showing you that. Is it something you realize, you know, that you were a perfectionist after becoming a parent? I mean, this is one example, but is it like I realized I needed to kind of do that work before?
I think for me, it's been a recent realization, which sounds so silly. I'm sure everyone around me realized it, but
no, I didn't.
I think when I sold my company, and for the first time, I was not CEO. I was sort of the manager of a division within a larger company, and it was the first time I didn't have sort of total control over my day. It was the first time I think I really identified that when I'm out of control, I feel very unwell. And then I think that sort of aha moment helped me realize other things, like why I don't like to fly, or why sometimes it's challenging dealing with a child who is very independent and whose interests don't always align with mine. It's, you know, it's sort of trying to live in that feeling of not being in control and being okay with it.
Totally. Yeah. Yeah, I didn't realize perfectionism was like a thing to recover from. I was like, yeah, I'm a perfectionist. Like, isn't that great? Like, I love to be perfect. And until I was like, okay, no, I don't want my girls to start wanting and striving for that and getting all of that. What about you? Before we,
I mean, areas that I struggle with in terms of
or just that you realize as a parent, like, oh, why does that bother me? Like, it might be something that I need to work on a little bit. You know, something like, oh, I hate when they're always late. I don't know.
Oh gosh, I have so many. I feel like sometimes I focus too much on like, what are we going to do together? Like the activity, and is it so fun, or is it the perfect thing that we should be doing, when really just like being together is the most important thing. I always am having to be reminded of that like planning this perfect outing, going to the right play or whatever it is like not really as important as just like hanging out. Maybe just like hanging out on the couch chatting is like more important. I don't know. Sometimes I lose sight of the goal.
I think we all do. I think we're listening to this being like, so how do we not feel like we need to plan the perfect thing? Is it something that your kids were like, Dad, chill out, like we're good? Or is it something that you were like, I'm not even present because I'm like so focused on everyone's...
Yeah, I'm focused on like the details of the thing, and really it should just be focused on them and spending time. It's like so silly, but you always forget it. There's always this like pressure, I feel, as parents to like entertain our children, like give them this perfect entertainment experience. Like, what are we going to do this weekend? What do we need to do that's so wonderful? And really maybe just like giving undivided attention for a few hours is maybe the best.
Totally. Yes. And they're constant reminders of that. I feel, you know, we're always like running around to do it. You know, people always talk about, or I actually think about, you know, when you do have that outing and then you're after it, you're just like, I hope someone had fun. I don't even know what we just did or if anyone had fun. And like when there's more and more times like that, you realize compared to the times when you don't have that, how much more like full and rich it feels. Yeah, that helps remind you. Thank you guys for sharing so openly. I feel like so many people will relate to both of those things that you ended with, and so much that was woven in. And I think it's just so important to hear backstory, where we came from, what we're still working on, to get us to where we are today. So thank you so much. Before we sign off, can you share where people can find you, the board, anything that, they can explore deeper with?
Yeah, you can find the board at board.fun, which is our website, or at board.fun on social media. And you can find me at Brynn Putnam just on Twitter. I'm not on social media otherwise.
Okay, great. And Kevin, what if we have like something that we need you to be like, this is it? Where do we go?
I'm Kevin.
Not reachable.
No.
Okay.
I'm Kevin Thau, all one word, at Twitter.
Okay,
Yeah,
great.
on Twitter.
Thank you both so much.